Good afternoon, world. It is moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. Today is the 3rd of April. We don't have any more April Fool's jokes. Uh, and it's episode number 53 of Grit and Good News. We're broadcasting live from our palatial studio in the shadows of the Ellis County Historic Courthouse. I'm your co host, Jeff Lynch. At the board, we got our man Sammy, and it gives me great pleasure, honor, and joy to introduce my co-host, my friend, and your guy that you
Pain in
read
the butt.
that you love to read in the newspaper and you love to hear him talk, Scott Brooks.
Thank you, brother. Welcome everybody to this cold. Look at Jeff's got
Yeah,
on his cords. I got on my hoodie. Sammy's got on his hoodie. It's like it's supposed to be even colder over the weekend.
I know, up and down.
That's crazy. We are here every Tuesday and Thursday across all the major platforms, social media platforms. We're on TikTok, but not live. So you can go to TikTok, put in search Grit and Good News, and you will find us there, opining as we do, and having a great time. Jeff and I pals and love doing this and partners. And we try to cover all sorts of things. We try to cover it in the most logical, practical, simple way, common
At
sense
least,
way.
at least we think it's that way.
Well, yeah, we do. And, I was thinking about this yesterday and I was up in Dallas and I was thinking, I was just thinking common sense. Common sense just means that practical sense is common when really it's not anymore. It's not in it's almost like, you hear Donald Trump say, well, we're gonna have common sense. Used to be that was normal. Now it's an extraordinary thing, isn't it?
And I'll jump ahead and I'm going to pull out
Okay.
one of my 5 random thoughts
Yeah.
because one of my five
All right.
random thoughts is,
Hey, Chuck. Thank you.
well, you know what they say about common sense? It's not that common
Yeah.
anymore.
It's not. It's really not. So, as usual, we have a ton to talk about today. It is Thursday, so 2 days from now, Saturday, I don't know when those games are. I would imagine Saturday evening. We will see how well we've done with our prognostication. How's that for a simple word?
You got it.
Of the Sammy, it's hot. What do you got on in here? Heater? See how well we've done with our picking. I mean, again, bring up Sammy's my son. I'm very proud dad. Our pygmy bracket that Sammy put together. Mine, the final four is perfecto. And today I'm going to reveal who of the four we have winning the whole thing. So it's Duke playing Houston, Auburn playing Florida. I've got Auburn playing Houston, and I really don't want to say this or do this, but I've already done it. I think Houston's going to win it all, according to my pygmy bracket. What do you got, Sam?
Well, I only got one right.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't go around talking
yeah,
about
me
that.
too.
I got Florida in there, but I had Bama winning. So
So you are a loser.
yeah, I'm
Sit
done.
down.
I
Remember what I
know.
used to say when somebody strike out? Sit down, you big
Yeah.
loser. All right, what do you got, Jeffrey?
I got Duke against who did I get that far? I don't.
Well, you either no, look down there. You either had is that Kentucky or
Oh, I got Houston
all
there.
right? So you got Duke and Houston,
Yeah, and
and yours.
over here I think I got Florida and Auburn.
Well, then you have them all right. Do you remember? You're just cheating
No,
off
no, I
mine.
don't
You
have
don't
them all
even
right. I don't
know.
have them all
What do
right.
you have in the final? You don't
I
even know, do you?
I know I got Duke in the final. That's all I know.
Let me
Yeah,
tell you.
I got Duke winning it. I'll
Let me
say
tell
that.
y'all something. I thought you said you had Bama winning it.
They're not in it.
Well, that's the point, son. I
Well,
tell you what, for
now
y'all listening, if you ever see me walking, I kind of walk like I'm 150 years old because I'm carrying these two on my back all the time. Chuck says 3 out of 4 of them. Nice. Duke's going to be hard to beat. I'm telling you right now. So we got that. All right. What about, are you looking for your 53 number?
No, I got my
All
53
right.
number.
So today is our 53rd episode.
53rd, yeah.
And Jeff likes to, on our episode number, pick out you're going to have a real problem when we get to like 120.
Well, no, since we started it at like 47, we'll just start at 1 again
Okay. Good idea.
and work our way up there.
All right. Good.
So, when I was looking at this, I got a couple of older players. The National Football League completely changed its numbering
Yeah.
system. It used to be tens and teens were quarterbacks,
Right.
20s were halfbacks, 30s were fullbacks, 40s were defensive ends, and 50s and maybe 60s were linemen. And now I got 3 linemen here
Yeah. That
at
was weird
53
number.
because that's
Oh,
where it
yeah.
was back then.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are defensive ends, Harry Larson
Yeah.
multiple teams in Len Ford. And the great Mick Tingelhoff, the center for the Viking, he was the center for 4 Super Bowl losses. He had Fran Tarkenton and Joe Cap, um, that he was centering for much of that
I
time.
don't remember him.
And we're gonna go to God rest his soul, Johnny Goudreau,
Oh, oh
who
wait, hockey.
hockey
Yeah,
Johnny, the late great Johnny Goudreau,
one of the players.
the,
Was
the,
that
the, the
young
guy
man?
that the guy that
I
died
thought he
with.
was number 13.
I'm getting there.
Oh,
That's a good call.
okay, good.
He was
Thanks.
53 at Calgary, and then when he switched
Mm-hmm.
teams, he went to 13,
Mm.
which was his number from Boston College.
That is good.
So
Yeah,
that
that's a good
I'm
story.
glad you're on
That's a
top of that.
sad story.
And
Yeah.
and Pavelski, the same thing. He was 53 most of his career for the Sharks, and he came to the Stars, and I think he was 25. But it points out the funness of numbers in hockey. The number one, the top numbers, if you're a forward, are to get 9, 8, or 7. You can't hardly get on a team that doesn't have those retired. I saw
Yeah.
one the other day. I think Colorado maybe had somebody because they hadn't been all that long.
Yeah.
9, 8, and
Yeah.
7. So if you can't get one and you're a great forward, or you think you're going to be a great forward, you take the derivation. You take 53. 5 and 3 is 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
you take 54 to get 9 is almost
It's a great.
impossible.
Yeah. It's a great
8,
number.
all 3 of them. They're all hard to get.
Well, I
But
know 90, 99 and 66 nobody touches.
right.
Uh, for Mario and for Wayne Gretzky. Although I did last night, I was flipping through the channel and I came across the Capitals playing. Forget who they were playing. Carolina getting beat, and they had the screen split and just showing. The other camera was everything on Ovechkin because he's 3 away.
Right.
Scored last night on a 5-3
And they
advantage.
got I think most teams are at 74. I think he's got 8 games left.
Yeah, he and they don't count it in the playoffs.
You know, he was out 16 games
Yeah, with
left.
that broken leg.
That's amazing to come
That
back
that is.
at all,
All
really.
right, let me update you on a couple of stories that really got me all worked up, as you might say. First is this sad, sad, sad story in Frisco yesterday, where a young man named Austin Metcalf had a twin brother, well, the twin brother's still here. So, but went to a track meet, just just like I went to a golf tournament yesterday. My
And it was not
youngest
that well
son,
attended. You saw those stands.
yeah.
But you know
So
what? Those guys were both high school football
yeah.
players. They had buddies and
So
you
he
know,
go, you just get up, get dressed, excited to go to a track meet, and get killed, get murdered, get stabbed. And so here we are again. We talked about, and the second topic here is going to be about this Red Oak dude. But we were talking on Tuesday about how the ills of the world have been, at least for Waxahachie, have been kept away, and things are just starting to creep in. And this is in Frisco, which is might as well be a world away in terms of distance. We don't normally go there unless we go to Shields
it's
or
it's a
wherever.
it's about the distance north of downtown Dallas that we are
Yeah,
south of downtown.
right. So
Just a touch less.
so we don't, we don't have a reason to go into Frisco every day, but
No.
it's part of Texas. It's part of the Metroplex. And this young man, great looking young man, football player, track guy, gets into an altercation with some other thug, and the thug murders him. I don't know anything about the other guy. With the most recent story is this one
It's a
that
knife.
it was, yeah, got stabbed. This came out this morning, and it just talks about Austin Metcalf being honored. I didn't give this to Sammy. I don't think, did I? No. So here's for those. I don't know if you can see it. Can they see it, Sam? So on your far right is Austin, the young man that was killed. This is his twin brother, and that's his mother. And so we can't even go to a track meet anymore. In the potential for something bad to happen. It's always there, always has been. But the disinterest in respect for life is just enough to drive me crazy. And my wife and I went to see our youngest son playing a golf tournament yesterday at one of our favorite courses, the Dallas Club Golf Club of Dallas, and it's the same kind of thing. I mean, the last thing we would have thought of that somehow any one of us would have been hurt, just like I'm sure this Metcalf
Right.
family is like, there is no fear in going to a track meet, but to go to track meet and the most horrific thing we can think happening happens.
I heard there was an incident at the Waxahachie Golf Club recently with, you know about it? About the golf club in the face?
And the guy got knocked
Tell
out.
tell them what you
What
know.
happened?
You
Well,
might know
Kennedy,
better.
Ty, Heather's
Yeah, yeah,
son,
yeah.
was at the golf place in Waxahachie, and he said he saw two people.
He saw it.
He saw two people getting into an argument, and
Two
one of
golfers.
I think
Yeah,
they
yeah,
both
they
had
were.
clubs,
Yeah.
and one of them had a driver or a club and smacked the other dude in the head, and the dude got knocked out cold, like on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, those people should be thrown in jail, period, and stay there.
Me.
What? Well, they're no value to society.
The guy got arrested and
Golf,
everything.
I get the emotions in golf and track and sports and all that stuff in politics, but I mean, man, when we hit the point where you can't go to a simple track meet, a high school track meet, without somebody being murdered, I mean, those people just don't need to be in society, as far as I'm concerned. The second subject is
It's, you
our
know what?
friend.
Here's the deal. It's just such a microcosm. Both of those incidents are completely unrelated, and they are a microcosm of what goes on all over.
Yeah, it's just
And thank God that, that we are in a civilish town.
yeah.
There are parts of cities where this isn't news.
No,
This is
it's
not news.
that's part of the problem is that
That's the
we've
problem.
become, what do you call it? Become calloused
Yeah,
and
yeah,
comfortably numb
yeah,
to it. And
yeah.
the other story that, and we ran it above the fold, as we refer to it in the newspaper business, lead story yesterday, was the transformation of a young man in Red Oak named Zachary Sandry to before Christmas to when he came back. He's now as he refers to himself, Rosalind or Rosie,
Rosie.
and he's all over. We played a video on Tuesday. He's since then has posted many more videos of him. The one we have now, I don't know if it's up there, Sammy, but he's not. You have it ready to play? Yeah, go ahead and tell me when you're ready to hit play. But he's now, this video, as you'll see, we're not going to play the whole thing, but this is him, and I want to talk about that pronoun.
And take most note of how him is on the journey from male to female, which Rosie stated, Zachary stated, this person stated that I am now a female. This person stated I am now a female.
Yeah,
I am now a female. Go.
hit it, Sam. It's just this is Zachary.
Hi everybody, it's Rosie, transgender goddess. I wanted to pop on here really quick because I completely forgot. I was on the news tonight. I was on WFAA Channel 8 tonight, and there's just one part of their broadcast that I want to clarify because I think it is an important part to the story. And one of the reasons that I don't feel like I did anything wrong here, and that is one of the news anchors said that I asked my students to change my pronouns, and I must make it clear that I did not. I told them they could call me whatever they wanted. Whatever they wanted. Didn't matter to me. Just call me by my last name. Just snap at me and say teacher. I told them I did not care when they asked me what they needed to call me now. So I want to make sure that I get that out there because I think it is an important part of the story.
Okay, that's
and I
good,
just
Sam.
want to make sure that
And this is something I was very clear of the last episode, and I couldn't be clearer yet today. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't care what Sam does in his bedroom. I don't care what Rosie does. And then I know what equipment she's using. It's old equipment. And I don't care what anybody does. And I don't care about what a lesbian does. I don't care what a gay man does. I don't care about what anybody does in the bedroom. And why do they want everybody to know? Number one, and related to that, um, who crowned you transgender goddess? I
Yeah,
think you coined a term for yourself. And the worst thing of all isn't just that you're telling us about what we really don't want to know about. The worst thing is the whole deal that you are creating a celebrity of yourself to make a celebrity of yourself, and you've done a disservice to every transgender person out there who has struggled with angst about how they feel, and they've made their decision that that's what they're going to do, and they're somewhere on the line to going all the way. But as we learned the other day, very few go all the way. But um,
Yeah,
get a private life instead of trying to make yourself a celebrity.
that's
Thank you.
why I said the other day that this is an extreme form of it. But when I see the wild hair or the tattoos or the facial piercings or whatever, it's a cry for help, in my opinion. This guy in our story, the editor and I spoke 2 days ago, Monday. We talked about she had written a story. She said, "Look, I'm using the pronoun he." And I said, well, what other pronoun to be factual and to be accurate? To be accurate, to be factual, which is the premise upon which any media source should be based. What would anybody say? And she said, well, he's a he, and well, that's obvious. Even he admits
He
it.
looks pretty he-ish
And
there.
so these people writing the Sun and commenting on our post online and all that are saying we did a disservice or we should be embarrassed or we should feel bad or whatever. I can assure you, not one of us, particularly me, feels bad about calling a man a he. What I would feel bad about is somehow being twisted like a pretzel into calling Rosie they or her or whatever. He just said he didn't care what kind of pronouns. So we've got all these woke people writing saying, well, you got to be calling him uh, what he identifies as. Well, he could identify as, like we talked about the other day, as a turtle, and I'm not calling him a turtle. Um, so, but this is a cry for help. You saw the glee and the joy and the excitement of him saying he was on WFAA. You know, go back to that old quote that says any publicity is good publicity. And that is not true. This is not good publicity for this guy. And so we have an obligation as a source to make sure that people in our community know what's going on. And it's not in Waxahachie, but it's close enough, might as well be. Um, it appears to me at this point the school district is handling it correctly, but if that comes to Waxahachie, there's and depending on how it's handled, it's going to be a major topic for us and for everybody else in town. It is not acceptable to I don't care how many kids line up and say, "Oh, we love Zachary, we love Rosie, whatever," and that they think he's a great teacher. Well, that's good, but we cannot reinforce this woke culture. Is just going to get worse. Because literally, if he came in and identified as a snake, these kids would say the same thing. We don't. He might be identifying himself as a snake, but we think he's a great teacher and we love him and he's sweet and kind and all that crap.
We call him Lucifer.
Yeah, there you go. So those are the updates. It just wears me out, but we have an obligation here to make sure that we inform as many people as we can. And I will tell you that our not only our newspaper our newspaper, particularly the digital version of our newspaper, but our show and my columns, all of that, because of the way we're approaching these topics, are beginning to get legs, and more people across the country are seeing them. And that doesn't change our obligation; it just intensifies our obligation. So
Right.
that said, let's talk about politics. I have made the claim on this show that when we started the Sun, it's not really a claim, it's a statement, but when we started the Sun, I was mindful of those who might be weary of politics, because at the Daily Light, I'd written a number of things about politics, and every place I've been, I've written about politics because politics was always there, has always been there. I argue today that in 2025, just like in 24, just like in 20, going back really to 16, that politics has become part of our DNA. And if there's to say that I don't want to cover politics or that we don't want to cover politics is really an obfuscation of what is a staple of life anymore. And there's no
Did you
way
get
to
that
escape
word? Ob,
obfuscation.
obfuscation.
So there's no,
We don't
yeah,
hear that enough.
there's no there's no getting around politics. It dominates everything, and it is because of how far we drifted, particularly in the Biden years. And I would even claim in the Obama years, Obama is turning out to be one of the worst presidents we've ever had, which was never a surprise to any of us on the right. But the left is now having to watch him play a fool in how he's trying to remain relevant, when in fact he's not really that relevant. Um, so politics is an important part of life. So we have this this segment of our show. I wanted to share with you guys a recent poll. The poll was, let me see if I can find, eMarketer is the company I got this from. Um, Data is from a February 2025 Harris poll, which is another credible poll survey as cited by Axios. This was taken from February the 30th through January the 1st. So really a 2-day poll of this year. And what it says is that politics is driving shopping decisions, especially for younger, liberal, and minority consumers. So, by example, of political affiliation, 45% of Democrats say they either have or are changing the decision, their minds about where they go to shop for certain things. So if they say, well,
They're letting their money talk.
Tesla is now headed up by Elon, so we can't buy a Tesla,
Right.
despite the fact a year ago it was our dream car.
Right.
So 45% of Democrats, 34% of Republicans are now saying, well, if Toys R Us, not Toys R Us, Target is more identified as a liberal
Hey, that's
company.
a blended weighted average of 40% of all the people.
Yeah,
Right.
on average. With respect to race and ethnicity, 50% of Black people are
Mm.
now saying that they are changing their shopping patterns based on the political affiliation of the companies that they have to date shopped. 41% of Hispanics are changing their decisions, their minds. 35% of white Americans are saying we are changing our mind on going uh, when we go shopping. Now, I'm willing to admit, I'm an online shopper, and I'm into my vice is like fashion, watches, shoes. I love my hats, that kind of thing. So I go to my standard. I don't know anything about where I like Pins and Aces is a golf company that I love. And I don't have any idea where they're located. I don't have any idea what their political affiliation is. I don't care. I like their clothes. I don't have to get them tailored. They fit me fine. This is from a company called Fig Tree. I assume they're conservative because it's religious, but I don't have any idea. I don't need to know. It doesn't matter to me. If that were the case, if I had to determine where I shop based on what political affiliation the company's offering things I like, one, I'd be cheating myself out of stuff I like,
Right.
and number
Well,
two, I'd have to do some research to know where to go, and number three, uh, it's a waste of my time, frankly. But this is what's happening.
this third
Yeah,
one I find very unusual that these four categories of ages are all very close from 37 to
41 to 37. So you
41.
got Gen Z, which is 18 to 28-year-olds. That's Sammy. 41% of the Gen Z say that they changed their mind about where they're going to shop
Yeah.
based on the political affiliation. Millennials, which are 29-year-olds to 44-year-olds, 39% of them. Gen Xers, which is 45 to 60, 36% of them are changing their minds or have. And baby boomers, I'm 63 years old, so I'm a young, very young baby boomer. 37% of baby boomers
So you've got all the ages
covered.
covered
Yeah,
between
from
36 and 41. It's kind of universal.
it is.
They're
It's
all there together.
Yeah, the highest percentage of people that have changed their minds are blacks.
Oh yeah, but on the
But
generations,
yeah,
it
but
doesn't
even then,
change.
so
Yeah.
the highest number is 50%. The lowest number is 34%. That's the Republicans.
Yeah.
So in total, to your point, 38% of all people are now changing their minds about where they're going to shop based on the political affiliation of the company that has the things they want to.
38% will get you in a runoff election in some
Yeah, I
elections,
mean, when
right?
you think about that, uh, yeah, Biden is one of the worst presidents, and what's even more disturbing is he's been in politics for probably longer than I've been alive, and because he's been in politics that long, you'd think he'd have the answers and able to bring parties together. Yeah, the Biden has cheated the American people for 50 years. He came into office in the 70s, and he's almost been wrong almost on every major foreign policy decision. He's been wrong, and obviously, what he did the last 4 years is it got us in a tough spot. The people Politics is like water in a way. I mean, we have to have water to live. We have to have food to live. we have to, in terms of the things that we expose ourselves to, somebody out there that doesn't know anything about politics is living a what's the word? A
Living in a vacuum.
fragile,
In a
well, and
vacuum.
they're living in a fragile world if you don't know what's happening. So I wanted to share that with you all. Just a couple more things about this. Many consumers are pulling back their spending amid a rising number of retailers rolling back DEI initiatives. For example, Atlanta-based Reverend Jamal Bryant recently called for a 40-day boycott of Target because it turned its back on the black community because it dropped or stepped back from DEI. By the way, our favorite politician, who is she? Jasmine What a Crockett. Um,
A
in
crock of.
in a interview, I think it was yesterday, said that when she became a public defender, which was her first job, she walked into the district attorney's office, and his name was Charlie, whoever the hiring person was, and said, "Charlie, I don't have any experience in trying cases, but I want you to hire me." And Charlie, and this is according to her, she's saying it. Well, Charlie says, "Well, why should I hire you?" She said, "Because I am black," and he hired her. So she's touting that the only reason she got the job she got was because she was black, and she told him that's why she should be hired. So we have this knucklehead that's in Texas. She's about the opposite of what a what a Texas person is, and is admitting that she got the job because she's black. And now she's on a perpetual tour. She's on the tour, she's on a fool tour. She's trying to find as many places she can go to say, "Look at me, I'm a blooming idiot." She and Rosie ought to team up and take it national.
I thought about her on Saturday, and I was trying to think of how I would approach this with her. There's over at Tennyson Park in East Dallas, which it has very close to wonderful areas and very on the borderline to rough areas. And right across the street from part of that golf course is an area that used to be full of vibrant little liquor stores and convenience stores, and every little retailer was full. And now there's one retailer there out of five,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, Jasmine, if you got off your
Arse.
tote myself tour of perpetually saying outlandish things to try to get attention to yourself, and I know you're in Congress, you're not in city politics, but it is in your district, your sprawling district that goes from the Red Oak line up to Love Field.
Yeah.
And it's probably the worst place of your district. So when the bar is low, it's easy to raise it a little bit.
Good thing.
But I didn't know how. But maybe somehow we can get this to Jasmine.
Yeah, Jasmine, I just don't know what's going on. It's like AOC's district is a red light district anymore. These people are the worst, and yet we continue to prop them up. And the Democrats, there's a point at which I'm going to feel a little bit of empathy or pity because they are letting their party being they're letting the representatives of their party, leaders of their party, for lack of a better word, as being AOC, Jasmine What a Crockett, and others like them. It's just look, if we were Democrats and I saw Jasmine Crockett, What a Crockett, get up
Crock
there.
up.
There you go. Get up there and act a fool, and I'm in the party. I would say, wait a second, are we not? Have we lost our minds letting this woman represent us? It's almost equivalent to Matt Gaetz. I mean, the Republicans finally said enough of Matt Gaetz, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's politics that's a good example of how politics has entered into the closest quarters of our lives and impacting what we do. I'd say there's a ton more examples, but that's just one on shopping. I will say I'm not going down that road. If you got something I like, I'm buying it. I don't care about, I don't need to know your politics. I'm buying it.
And where does he pull out the number 40 days? 40
Uh,
days
uh,
and 40 nights in
well,
the
he's a
desert?
pastor. Yeah, that he's a
I don't
pastor.
know.
He's
I mean,
playing a game.
if you're committed, if you're really committed to it, you're just deferring your spending.
Yeah, exactly. He's a playing game. He's a charlatan. All right, let's talk about the
Let's
column
go.
from yesterday, From Stones to Bombs, the Moral Divide and Political Insults. So I've written before about how people just resort to calling people whatever they want to call them. And I mean, enough is enough. It's like we've had these discussions before. Do we know what we actually are saying when we say Trump is a threat to democracy? Does anybody really know what people that say that mean? What does Trump, what did he take away from us before? What is he going to take away from us now? So we use these euphemisms and these platitudes, but we don't really know what they mean. And so I've written these columns about, well, Hitler, last week, hit from Aunt Jemima to Hitler. Um, and so this week's column is to say, wait a second, for all you people that are getting online and jumping me saying, well, Trump does it all the time, or Vance does it all the time, or whoever else they want to say does it all the time. What I'm trying to say is they don't do it all the time. They don't. You have, in terms of calling somebody a name or using it as a label. I challenge anybody to show me. You might have a one-off, but to show me where Trump or anybody in the Republican Party has said repeatedly that somebody else is Hitler. So as I mentioned the other day, I think on the air, if what other names can I put in the category? Could we put in the category of Hitler? Because as the column says, is that one,
Mussolini.
okay, Mussolini, Satan, Lucifer, whatever name we wanted to use, if one is the end of a conversation, the other, Sleepy Joe, he's corrupt, what a Crockett, whatever other names we call each other, what it's not good. It's not does not healthy for conversation. But what there's a difference. And uh, and so a number of people are responding to the column. Most, again, are positive, and I'm grateful for that. But there are some that, one goofball says, well, uh, dissent doesn't have any limit to it. Well, it does have a limit to it. You can't dissent in the form of starting a fire. You can't dissent by shooting somebody and it be okay. You can't dissent by running over somebody. And if your choice of dissenting is you call them Hitler, then let me know what good it does for you. Because calling somebody Hitler is, where do you go? If I say, Jeff, you're Hitler, man. What what do
I,
you do?
I'm gonna say two things. I'm gonna say sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never harm you. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say that right to your
yeah,
face. And kids say that on the playground
yeah.
still, and it's still true. And if I wasn't talking to you and you told me about what somebody said, you know what I would also say then?
What?
I'd say consider the source.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying it was a bad column, and I agree with everything in it, but guess what? Name calling has gone on forever.
There's
It's never going to go away. And I don't think there's anybody around that hears somebody call somebody Hitler or Nazi and go, I did not know that. That's interesting.
let me ask
I've learned something
let me
today.
ask you this question. Prior to 2016,
Hmm.
do you recall ever a time, and be, I know
Okay.
you will, honest with,
Okay.
a time, even in politics, but any other aspect of life,
All right.
that someone was referred to as Hitler, other
No.
than Hitler?
No.
Okay. So my point is we have reached a level of discourse that while I don't like it, I'm okay with us calling people call me names all the time. Uh, and I'm okay with that. I am not okay with somebody calling another person Hitler
I'm not okay
simply
with it.
because,
I'm not okay with it.
but I don't categorize it as name calling. I categorize it as I am essentially saying you have zero value. There's no way this conversation can go on because what is the point if you think
Right.
I'm Hitler?
Right.
And so I'm challenging the left where like you see these clips of Elon. You know what they're calling a Tesla car now? A swastika car.
A swastika.
And yesterday, or last night, because again, my 15 minutes with old Matt Owl, which is the most painful 15 minutes I've ever been through in my life, um, night and night and night again. She shows all these people with these signs, which are ironically all about the same. They're quality signs, yet these are random get-togethers.
Yeah.
But they have Hitler, they have swastika, they have Nazi. And I'm just thinking, what value do you think that's going to matter to Tesla, to Elon? So what's the point? If you want to have a conversation so you can come to an end that might be better than the start, you got to eradicate using words like that because that ends the conversation.
Sadly, what the can you think about how much less social media there was in 2016?
Yeah.
Exponentially, it grows and grows and grows. And everything, you know, Rosie, I don't think she'd have been much of anything in 2016.
No, she
Okay.
would have been a pariah,
That
an
that's
outcast.
that's that's the deal. And the same with anything in the category of name calling. The whole world has come to be uh where everything's news. And yesterday there were 3 or 4 different things with plane mishaps and not crashes and things and now anything that happens in a plane is news and then
Yeah.
you look at your phone and you go notification. That's not news.
Yeah.
That's not news.
Right.
You're notifying me this.
Yeah.
My phone is tinging for you to tell me this.
Yeah.
So it's we're just
No,
too deep. We're
I
too deep.
agree. The I get a lot of I've gotten recently, probably the past 2 months, I've gotten a tons of response to my columns. Some of it is for all to see, and then some are
Right.
letters that come to me, emails that come to me. We don't like to bore you with reading long things, but I want to read something to you. I'm going to do it fast as I can. But in relationship to the column,
Mhm.
this is in response to the column a couple of weeks ago where I said Elon Musk is the visionary that the left hates. And I went on to explain all of that. And we ended up, the analytics showed that 1.2 million people read it. And that's a lot of people. And so it struck a nerve out there. And not 1.2 people wrote, but 50,000 people had a comment. I got dozens of emails. Um, this is a letter about that column, but it describes this column.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna take a stab. I'll read fast because Jeff doesn't like when I read long things, and neither do you
I'm
probably.
looking
But
out for my
this is a guy from
people.
Yes, you are. This is a guy from California named Joel. Um, and he wrote me out of the blue. Never heard of Joel before. He said, I'm a recent subscriber and read with interest your subscriber. I don't know if he's talking about the Sun or he's talking about just on Facebook. I think he's talking about the Sun, which is interesting to me. And I'm grateful for that. But he says, I'm a recent subscriber and read with interest your opinion piece on Elon Musk. You raise questions that deserve careful answers. For context, I grew up in a small rural Midwestern town, spent years in Texas, and have lived most of my adult life in Silicon Valley. I've spent my career starting, building, and serving executive roles in technology companies, both large and small, so I feel qualified to comment on Musk's activities in that realm. Again, he's responding to my column where I gave point by point why are people so angry with Musk? Um, Here's what Joel says. Now to specifics. Musk's record reveals several truths about him. Number one, he is a visionary, but also a reckless leader. This is Joel's take on the column where I said Musk is a visionary. All right. An extraordinary visionary. Joel says he's a visionary, but also a reckless leader. Tesla once had an instrumental lead in electric vehicles, but instead of focusing on affordability and mass adoption, Musk diverted attention and resources to gimmicks like the Cybertruck, a product so poorly conceived that raccoons mistake it for a dumpster. Number two, there's more there, but I don't want to read the whole thing. Number two, Elon's greatest skill is raising capital, not delivering on promises. Musk is an exceptional salesman, continually dangling new grand visions to keep investors hooked. Tesla, ostensibly a car company, is now primarily valued by Wall Street for its humanoid robot ambitions, which is true. Number three, the idea that he is a champion of free speech is laughable. Now, this is a guy disagreeing with me about my column. The idea that he is a champion of free speech is laughable. You suggest the left despises Musk for loosening the chokehold on dissenting voices, but let's look at the actual record at Twitter. Banning journalists who criticize him, throttling competitors, and supporting amplifying despots. Musk does not believe in free speech. He believes in speech that flatters him. Number four, Musk's empire depends heavily on government support. While he pretends otherwise, Musk has collected $38 billion in government subsidies. Yet Doge is gutting U.S. government investment in space and satellite services, so on and so forth. Number five, the real reason Musk infuriates the left, or at least me, is his unchecked political influence. Musk donated $250 million to Trump's campaign, the equivalent of a typical Sun reader spending $75. This is pocket change for someone worth $300 billion, but enough to buy him a seat in the White House. He has now direct access to the presidency, shaping policy, and so on and so forth. You close by asking why the left is so mad at Musk. I'll return the question. Why is the right so determined to defend him, no matter how many promises he breaks or how much public money flows into his pockets? Perhaps Musk flatters certain ideological grievances while enriching himself at taxpayer expense. That's not innovation. That's just good old-fashioned crony capitalism. If your readers are unaware of these things, then I have to ask why. You occupy a position from which you can, if you choose, meaningfully educate your audience. If you believe the Sun has a duty to do that, then I challenge you to inform your readers more fully about Musk's government contracts, self-dealing, and conflicts of interest. I'll bet many of them will be surprised. So, sincerely, Joel. There you have what somebody who sees it different,
Right.
almost opposite of me,
I gave him his
has to
day in
say
court there.
and
That's right.
how he says it. So, two things are happening here. One is I am, again, telling and proving the point that the Sun, Grit and Good News, is willing to put out any position as long as it's not personally attacking, threatening the life of another human or racist or what have you.
And we got an hour twice a week. We got plenty of
Yeah.
chances. So,
So
y'all keep coming on with your stuff.
we're happy to have things like this, but I respect that. I wrote him back and I said, I respect everything you have here. It won't change my view about Trump. I mean, about Elon, because one, I have enough research on my own to believe that he's doing good. And so we might have to debate this,
Right.
but so that's one. We'll expose you to other views via the Sun and Grit and Good News. The second piece of this is, which is probably the bigger point for me at this point, is that Joel wrote this and it resounded with me. And it resounded with me because it's respectful, it's articulate. He did his research.
He did a lot of time and effort
He
on it
did.
too.
He was kind, and my follow-ups with him have been back and forth, have been kind. Matter of fact, this is going to run in the Sun in the next couple of weeks with his picture and his title and all that. But you notice what he didn't
Little
say?
editorial from your new bestie.
So you know what?
What?
If he would have said, Mr. Brooks, and then say all that, and then closed by saying, you know what, because you've taken the position that you have, you are essentially like Hitler.
Yeah.
You are like a Nazi.
Right.
This would have gone in the trash.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have never responded to Joel, and I wouldn't have had anything to do with it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. This elicits conversation. We probably won't ever agree,
Exactly.
but we still can have a conversation. He can become a friend if he wants to, and if I want to. Doesn't have to. The column we had in yesterday's paper with the doctor.
We'll be happy to have you out as a guest on the show, as a matter of fact.
Well,
Yeah, we will.
we would. And yesterday I wrote under my column was a column by a Dr. Larry Pfaff, I think is how you pronounce it, The Hidden Addiction, How Online Anger Hooks Your Brain. This is a guy from Illinois that wrote me and said, I value your columns. He was the opposite of Joel, but same respect and kindness. But he said, I have something your readers might be interested in. And this, if you haven't read it, you ought to read it, because it says the reason people are so eager and passionate about getting into it, no matter where you turn, verbally and even physically, is because it triggers dopamine in the brain. And so he gives a very well-written, informative column about what happens, why we are so prone to be in anger mode, because it gives us a thrill, for lack of a better description. So anyway, that's the column. The column is to say, essentially, just drop Hitler. That isn't going to do you any good. If you want to have a conversation and get somewhere, then just call him a meanie, call him a clown, a jerk, call him whatever. But Hitler and Lucifer and Mussolini, the end of the conversation.
Yeah, and it's 4-letter word, but it's not on the list of 4-letter
It ought to
words
be,
that you
yeah.
can't use. You got a little love note from your
Oh
wife there.
my
You don't
wife,
have
Scott
to.
doesn't like it when I read to
You
him,
don't have
Jeff.
to share it,
Oh
Jeff.
my wife. We'd have to have a 4-hour show for that if Sonia was reading that column or that letter. Anyway, all right. You got 4 random thoughts for us today, right?
Yeah.
Because you had 5, you already read one.
Why do shadows only come out in black and white?
Good question.
Good question.
Yeah, why do they?
Every death that happens from the war in Israel and Palestine is from the Hamas. They caused it all.
I agree. And so these clowns that get up and want to defend Hamas, like Talib and Omar and those others that are on my worst list of Democrats, they defend these people.
This is a
Ridiculous.
golf terminology, but it applies to a lot of things in life. Never up, never down.
Yeah.
And we're going to close with less is more.
Less is always more.
Less is always
I think
more.
that's awesome. You know, I tell our staff over at the company when a whole bunch of color is sold for ads because we get more money when the
Mhm.
ads are in color, uh, and because we only have select positions based on what a press can produce. If you put a bunch of all your color ads are on the same page,
They lose their
yeah,
effectiveness.
that
Yeah.
none is in color, right?
There's no impact.
Less is more.
Less is
So if
more.
I'm an
Yeah.
advertiser, I only want to be on the page where I'm the only color ad on there. Same thing applies for everything else. It's like if everybody's Hitler, nobody. If yeah, if no, it's not Hitler. It was another phrase I saw, but it was about using names of calling people. So if everybody's something, nobody's something. It was the point this guy was making. So uh, if you again putting aside Hitler, but if you really want to get somebody's attention and that you don't like, don't use a phrase that everybody else uses. Come
Right.
up with something different. That's why
Right.
I came up with what a Crockett. But you have to admit it's pretty good, right?
Well, I like crock up because
When you call her crock up, I'm calling her Jasmine. What a Crockett.
what is
What
a
a
crock up?
crock.
A crock of,
Yeah. So, but when I say, like I had my
okay,
column the other day, what a crock.
what a
Like
crock.
if you say to me, you
Yeah.
know, Bama's going to be 8th in the SEC, I'm going to say, a crock.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well,
So there you go.
you know what? This should be our most important segment. We got like 3 minutes to do it now.
Well, we'll hurry. He said, are you proud to be an American and why? Let me tell the reason I put that on our list today is because Ann, no, I keep calling her that.
Nancy Wilson.
Nancy Wilson of Heart, which is just goes back to the 70s, love them, still do their shows, says, Heart singer Nancy Wilson says it's more embarrassing to be an American now than during the Vietnam War. We're kind of embarrassed at that time to call ourselves American because of the dirty politics of the Vietnam War. She said to be as subtle as possible. It's more embarrassing now. You know what I have to say to Nancy Wilson? Bite me. Um, and I mean that kindly. So
Well,
what do
you know
you?
what? I think you might be misinterpreting her point. She doesn't say she doesn't like being American or proud of it. Everything, so many things that we talk about, that we've talked about today,
Mhm.
it's embarrassing to be part of them. That's what she's
That
saying.
isn't America, though.
Well,
You ain't gonna win this argument with me. Go ahead.
it's embarrassing to be in a country where people are stabbing people in a football stadium at a track meet.
I
It's
agree.
embarrassing. You can go on and on about the things that are embarrassing. It doesn't mean I'm not saying I don't think she said she doesn't love our country. I'm embarrassed by a lot of America too.
Yeah. You, but
Don't say
of the
you're not
be,
embarrassed by a lot of
I know I'm
America. You have to
embarrassed by
be.
the behaviors
That's
in
what I'm
America.
saying.
I am not embarrassed about my country.
I'm not
That's what she said. She's embarrassed
okay.
to be an American, and I'm just saying that it's a country that gave you, and I don't know if that's your sister, an opportunity to be one of the greatest rock bands ever. And I love it's not gonna
Right.
stop me from listening to
Right.
Heart, but I'm just saying it's like Michelle Obama said when she first came on the scene. Never it's the first time in her life that she's been proud to be an American. Well, what I mean, I th-
You had to become a first lady to be proud.
yeah, exactly. That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying to Ann Hart, granted, I was 9 years old when Vietnam started.
Yeah.
And so I don't really recall it, but I know it was a rough time, just like now. But America, it's the behaviors of its people are two different things. So it doesn't fly for me. All right, is that quick enough? Oh, I was going to ask you, when have you been most proud to be an American?
Well, I'm gonna tell you why I am.
Okay, yeah, tell me.
That we still exist as a nation today, I
Yeah,
think is pretty impressive.
yeah,
And that although there's a lot to complain about, we're still the best country in the world. And we wouldn't have an immigration problem if people didn't want to come here, would we?
no,
Okay.
exactly.
Are they dying to beat down the borders and get into Germany?
Well,
I haven't heard about that
yeah,
problem.
you and I don't have plans to go to Syria, do we?
No. So
And if we did, you know what they'd do to us? They'd hunt us down and either kill us or kick us out.
So there is plenty still to be proud about
That's right.
in an embarrassing time.
Yeah, it's so when I say that to Nancy Wilson is think of those people who live in Guatemala, Ethiopia, and others who can barely eat, and here you are moaning and groaning. Uh, it's just it infuriates me. All right, you got a column? I mean,
Yeah,
a
we've
poem.
got an event coming up this weekend in
Oh yeah,
town,
and you're going to be at it, right?
the fourth
Is
annual
Jeff the voice of reason, or is he playing? No, he's the voice of reason.
cowboy.
He always does that,
uh,
which is why he's such a valued friend and partner.
the fourth
Still
annual
annoys me.
Cowboy Poet Gathering. It's going to be at the Women's Building here. It was at Chautauqua for a couple years. It was at the Texas Theater for 1 year.
Yeah, for 1 year.
And I'm lucky to know David Smith, the man that puts it on, and I consider him a friend. And he's had many um, poems in this newspaper, and I will be reading this after the invocation at the beginning of it. And
Yes.
it's about Waxahachie, something near and dear to my life. And it goes something like this: Waxahachie is a name hard to pronounce, and on every syllable, a mistake will likely bounce. The wax is spoken walks, if you say it right, but it's wax to the lax. They've no linguistic might. Patchy rhymes with Apache, which has never been hard to say. But put it all together, folks simply lose their way. When you put it all together, my, such a lovely sound. But say it all completely, and mistakes will abound. But errors are fine, even from the most refined. And we can tell real soon if folks are singing our tune.
Mhm.
It's a gingerbread town where good morals abound. It's the gingerbread city. Her crepe myrtle's oh so pretty. And if you butcher our name, we'll still love you just the
Same.
thank you, same.
Very good column. So you're reading that at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. They need to have like reverb where you get up there and just like Paul Harvey. And you almost did that whole thing without looking at it.
Well, and I have to have it 100% for that because David Smith told me the first time when I read this at Chautauqua, he says, you have to have your poem memorized. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, that's the cowboy tradition. That's how people told stories in the old days. They had their poem and they didn't have a piece of paper. They recited their poem as a story at the campfire.
Yeah.
And so all these people there will be doing it and they'll be doing more than one poem.
Yeah. Are you going
So
to stay for the whole day, or are you just going to stay for part of it and go? Or do you,
I'm gonna stay and listen to other things, and I'll go up to the room when they're on breaks and sell a few
books?
copies of my book and a few copies of my 8x10 and 5x7 suitable for framing Waxahachie
Yeah.
poem. With
Chuck says he loves it. We
uh,
need to get that blown up and put it in our office over there.
is that what?
No, I'm talking a big one. I'm talking about a big one.
Amen. I'm with you.
All right.
What we got?
All right. So we got, by the way, we're giving away 2 Scarborough tickets uh, as a result of this show. So once the show has a couple, well, what's the day? Thursday. So the show, what we'll do is give the 2 tickets. We'll have to wait because I want to let people who aren't able to see it live
Yeah.
weigh in.
Do those people ever weigh in?
I don't know. Do they, Sam? We'll see. But
Yeah.
if they're listening to it,
Yeah.
and I'm saying we're giving away 2 Scarborough
Yeah.
tickets, which stock with Walmart Woodstock, they probably don't like me saying that. But hey, I mean it in kindness and love. But we're giving away 2, so we'll give away at least 2 next Tuesday. However, if anybody watching now wants these, because it opens this weekend, reach out to us at 972-316-7707. 972-316-7707, and we'll give you a few. All right. So there you go. All right. Let's do
Today in
our
history. Here we
contest.
go. Everybody knows the rules. They haven't changed. We do have a bonus on the second one. The first Pony Express mail delivery rides began, one heading west from St. Joe Mo and one heading east from Sacramento, California. Pony Express started delivering mail.
1931.
1846.
1860.
Mm.
I too got that wrong.
Ooh.
Here we go. Bruno Richard Hauptmann, Hauttmann, was executed in Trenton, New Jersey for the kidnapping murder of 20-month-old blank for the bonus, 20-year-old person murdered.
What
At,
year? What year was it? I'll remember the name.
oh, how
Oh,
many
read that.
times are you going to do this to me?
Read it again, please.
Bruno Richard Hampton was executed in Trenton, New Jersey for the kidnapping murder of blank year old, of 20-month-old blank.
I don't know.
I don't either. Oh, so the year would be 1938.
You don't know who it was?
No, I don't.
1932.
Charles Lindbergh
Oh,
Jr.
What year?
It was 36, and I did get that bonus.
I got nice.
You didn't know that one?
No, I didn't know that. But I did get the year right, or
So-
close.
Yeah, you did. Civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. delivered what was to be his final speech, telling a rally of striking sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yep.
I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land. The following day, King was killed by an assassin's bullet.
He got shot.
He got shot and killed.
1953.
1968, April. Well, that's today. But he was on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel.
And the bonus was in effect.
So I got 2.
It was 68.
Yep.
And I put 65, and I'm ashamed to get that one
I
wrong.
didn't know you
That
were
was it.
alive when Martin Luther was alive.
The first handheld portable telephone was demonstrated for reporters on a New York street corner as a Motorola executive, Martin Cooper, called Joel S. Engel of Bell Labs. Do you remember when cell phones came
The
out?
big old.
They were all by Motorola.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
How do you go from 100% market to zero?
My first.
And they were a big electronics company. How did that happen?
Cell phone, Sammy, for the car was.
It was
was
called
in
a
a
bag
big
phone.
packet bag.
For the car.
For the
It
car,
was
yeah.
the size of this and that
Oh
tall.
yeah, well, they started with in the cars.
In a nice leather pouch.
Yeah.
1975.
1975.
1979.
1973.
Okay, good.
I got it.
Okay, I'm tough on tornadoes. Now, I want you to think about the path that this thing took.
Okay.
Wow. An outbreak of tornadoes began by hitting parts of the South and the Midwest before jumping the border into Canada.
Nebraska.
148 different tornadoes caused
Great.
300 fatalities in what came to be known as the super outbreak.
I've never heard of that.
1996.
1989.
1974, I picked 88. That was a tough one. I got
Wow.
That was tough.
Theodore Ted Kaczynski, also known as the
Unabomber.
Unabomber, no bonus for that. Everybody knows that. Was arrested
Yeah.
at his remote Montana cabin by
Mhm.
FBI agents. The Unabomber.
1998.
That's close. 1996.
1996, the bonus is in
Booyah,
effect.
booyah, booyah.
Oh, good for you.
Me and Teddy.
You and Teddy.
Is that it?
That's it. That's
Oh,
all
I
I
That's
got.
was
it?
5 and 2.
We didn't even get in the
Booyah.
2000s.
All right, so that's near the end of our show. I want to tell you that we've
'Cause
got
we
some
had such a long Martin Luther
exciting
King one.
changes coming to the Waxahachie Sound Company and to Grit and Good News. We're looking forward to it. So in the next week or so, we'll be laying those out for you and sharing them with you. And hopes that this content has been of value to you. Will continue only to hopefully get better. But thank you, Isaac, for your comment. And somebody just dropped a
It's okay.
stone out of the ring. But thank you for being with us. We'll see you next Tuesday. It's all yours, Jeffrey.
Don't forget, don't write a check you can't cash. Boom.
Booyah.